Hey, you ever get that feeling there's something in the dark watching you? If you're like me, you can't look away. That's why I want to tell you about Creepy Shit. It's the podcast that dives into the strange, the haunted, the downright unholy, true crime that never got answers, folklore that refuses to die, and stories that cling to you long after you're done listening. Every week you're invited to sit by the fire with the rest of us creepers and hear something you'll want to share in a hushed voice. So if you're ready to explore things that might go bump in the night and things that don't make a sound at all, subscribe to Creepy Shit Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Join us. We've been waiting for you. Canadian Creepies is recorded on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, under the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. These lands and waters have been cared for since long before Canada existed, and they remain deeply important to Indigenous communities today. As we tell stories about darkness, injustice, and memory, I want to acknowledge the very real histories of colonization, violence, and erasure that Indigenous peoples continue to endure. A land acknowledgement can't undo that harm, but it is a reminder to keep listening, learning, and supporting in truth and reconciliation in meaningful ways. We share these stories not to forget, but to shine light, always with respect for peoples and nations whose land we live on. Canadian Creepies covers true crime, dark history, and disturbing events. Some episodes may include graphic descriptions or sensitive subject matter. We do our best to handle every story with care and respect for those affected. That said, we sometimes use humor and sarcasm as a way to process heavy content, never to disrespect victims, survivors, or their families. Listener discretion is advised. Imagine being told to pack up your life and move 2,000 kilometers north. No map, no real choice, and promises that wouldn't be kept. Not because of a natural disaster, not because of war on your doorstep, but because the government decided your presence somewhere else was more useful. But before we get into that, welcome to Canadian Creepies. I'm your host, Valerie, and I am here with...
Kyle.
We have Kyle.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle's here.
I'm back.
Here he is.
It's me again.
And we're here for another episode of Canadian Creepies.
I would agree. Yep. It is...
I would agree. I would agree that we are here for another episode.
I would agree, yes. Everything that I'll just say that, everything that has been said so far, top notch. I agree.
I do have... my usual little notes. Firstly, I did renew my library book, which is of New York. I'm still not finished it. I renewed it. I have it till later in the month. And hopefully I will finish it. Secondly,
I believe.
Valentine's Day as a florist. Crazy hours.
Yeah.
But very fun. Also, I want to mention before we get too far into it, this is the day we are finding out about the school shooting in British Columbia. And I believe, as of right now, there are 10 people dead.
Oh my God.
So our hearts go out to the families and the victims. We're not going to cover that for probably a few years because it's too fresh.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. There's no easy way to segue in or out of that,
There's
but I did want to mention it.
Yeah, that's good. I honestly, I didn't know about it until I read the notes, and then I saw that, and I was
and you were like, great, now I have to learn about that. Let me quickly, I should say where it was. Okay.
Now, I didn't open my soda water before, and I just want to make that known that this is soda water being opened.
It's in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia. As of 8:15 this morning, 9 people dead, 27 others injured. Very small community in BC. That's all I'm going to say about that for now. You guys have Google. So feel free to look into it. On a lighter note, we released a bonus episode yesterday.
Yeah.
with Avery and Mandy from Thick Thighs and Creepy Vibes. It was a very fun collaboration. I had a lot of fun with that. Amanda had some technical difficulties, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Kyle had fun editing it.
I did have fun editing it. It was one of the ones where I really kind of like just zoned out, like just listening to it. Like it was, any other podcast that I'm listening to.
Great.
It was because I forget what I ended up doing. I think I was trying to figure out some tax stuff. And then I was like, oh, this is great. I'm just listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
And you guys were, just bouncing back and forth. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that ep. Good ep. And also I felt so bad for Amanda's, poor Amanda, her internet cutting out.
Yeah, it was cutting out. It was lagging. It was brutal.
Yeah, I know. There was like one moment and like you could hear you guys talking, but you couldn't hear Amanda talking, and Amanda was so frustrated. It sounded like,
oh, poor thing.
I felt so bad. She's like, fucking Kojiko.
Fucking Kojiko. Poor Amanda. Love you, Amanda. And
Love
she'll
you,
be
Amanda.
back. She'll be back soon.
Yes. Yeah, I cannot fill those shoes. I do my best over here.
But it's Valentine's madness, so we have a little bit of a limited schedule. Okay, that's enough about how the mustard is made. We have an email from our listener, Christine. So I wanted to quickly read that because it's some cool parallels. So Chris, I'm going to be reading from Christine's, like, not voice, because I don't know what her voice sounds like, but when I speak in I, it's not me, it's Christine.
Yes.
Okay.
Reading from her perspective.
Yes. I've been keeping up with the podcast, and man, that Russell Williams episode was something else. Disturbing is an understatement. It's one of those stories that really sticks to your ribs, but it hit me even harder when I started tracking his history. It was actually a little chilling to realize that he and I have lived in all the same places. Hearing that timeline laid out and realizing our paths existed in the same physical spaces was a total hair standing up on the back of my neck moment. It definitely makes the world feel a lot smaller and a lot scarier.
Whoa.
Yeah, and there's more. I also wanted to mention the part about Jessica. I vividly remember seeing her missing poster as we were passing through Tweed on our way to Toronto.
Whoa.
I remember that heavy feeling in the car, just looking at her face and truly hoping for a miracle, praying she would be found safe. It's so incredibly sad how all that unfolded.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Christine, for sending that in.
Yeah.
We love your emails so much.
That's so nice. Thank you so much for sending that in.
And it is like, this is one of the reasons why, talking about Canadian history and Canadian content in this platform, I think is so important, because we're all impacted by true crime.
Yeah.
We're all impacted by this on some level.
Yeah.
Okay. Or even like the 6 degrees of separation, it's like crazy when you lay some stuff out.
That's
in
the
some
wild
certain
part
cases.
There. Yeah.
It'd be hard to find a place in Canada where a crime has not been committed.
Mm-hmm.
Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. This story begins in the 1950s.
Way back when.
Canada was anxious, defensive, and obsessed with sovereignty. The Cold War loomed, and the Arctic, vast, remote, and sparsely populated, was suddenly seen as something that needed to be claimed. Colonized. And to claim it, the state turned to people who already lived in the north. Families were told they were being moved for their own good, that life would be better, that food would be plentiful, that homes, schools, and support would be waiting. None of that was true.
Uh-oh.
This is not a survival story. It is a tale of harsh weather bravely endured. Or, excuse me, it's not a tale of harsh weather. It is not a tale of harsh weather bravely endured. This is a government policy story. A story about decisions made in offices far away and the human cost that followed. And before we go any further, this needs to be said plainly. This happened in Canada. And I want to be clear about the sources behind this episode. This story is grounded in reporting and historical documentation from CBC documentaries, including their recent feature on Inuit survivor Paula Ikuutaq Rumbolt. Ikuutaq.
We should watch that.
We should. We also relied on research from the Canadian Encyclopedia, the findings of the Royal Commission of Aboriginal Peoples, official records including the Government of Canada's 2010 formal apology for the high Arctic relocation, and broader historical analysis of related policies such as the Inuit relocations, residential schools, and day schools. As always, we encourage listeners to read directly from the Inuit-led and Indigenous-led sources wherever possible. And this episode centers documented history and survivor testimony. Our goal is clarity, not spectacle. Why don't you take us to the 1950s, Kyle?
Okay, here we go.
My sweet love.
Aw.
Yeah. We're dating, in case you don't know.
We're dating.
And we have been dating.
It's true.
You can't have him. Oh. Don't clip that. I was going to ask what's new with the Lemons, but you were on last week, still recording. Stream the new album. Stream the current album. Stream the album.
Stream
How to Kiss by the Feverish Lemons.
That's right. That's right. If we need another plug, there it is, guys.
If you don't know how to do it, his album tells you how. I'm just kidding.
That was the funny. We thought it was very funny. We thought it was funny. Honestly, that album title came because we had that funny image that looked like a weird lemon person kissing a lemon.
Yeah.
And then we thought, wouldn't it be funny if it was called How to Kiss?
Yeah. Are you going to ask your dad to design the next album art?
There's lots of ideas in the works. My dad is a cartoonist, though.
That's why I think he should do it.
I agree.
Not caricature style, but let him just go freestyle, freehand
I would love that, but he's a busy man. He's working a lot.
You think he wouldn't want to? This is not a conversation for over the mic. This is not.
I think he would. We've asked him before, and he said he would. He's got things going on.
See, I knew it. I knew he would.
Guys, we're in the 1950s.
Here we are.
And it's Canada.
Everybody's hopped into their time machine. They've talked about their dads or not.
Yeah, and feel free, by the way, to take this time to talk about your dad or not.
Feel free to pause this, talk to your friend about your dad.
Yeah, talk to your dad.
Or talk to your dad.
About his dad.
About your grandpa. Talk to your grandpa about his grandpa. Learn about all the dads. And don't clip that, and you'll never hear me speaking about men this way ever again. Thank you. If you thought that was funny and you're a man, you're the kind of man I like.
There you go. Otherwise, that was just my voice pitched up to sound like Valerie's.
That's right.
This.
That was really nice.
It's almost Valentine's Day, you know.
That was my present.
That's your present. This story. Okay.
Okay, and let's be. The wording is story, but this isn't like a story. We're not telling a fictional tale.
No, you're right. That's an important thing to say here. So this takes place in the early 1950s at the height of the Cold War. Global tensions were high. The Arctic was no longer seen as a distant or irrelevant. It became strategically important for military routes, surveillance, and national borders.
So kind of like what's happening now with like Russia and all that. Everybody's freaking worried about, or were worried about. They're still worried about. Everybody's worried about the Arctic and what's going to happen to that, because there could be oil up there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, everybody wants oil.
They love it.
They love oil.
Love oil.
I'm like, no.
And I'm like, no.
I'm like, no, because to be honest with you, I'm not smart enough to think of a solution for oil, but I know there are people out there working on that.
Yeah.
And I trust them.
Like, Nikola Tesla, where you at?
Where you at, bro?
He's in bronze and down by the falls.
That's right.
That's where he's been.
Is he Canadian?
No.
Then why do we have that?
Because the Niagara Falls, because he came up with the idea for the, this is rough, but he helped in the construction
for that. Should I add it to the list?
Yeah, do it up.
I'm sure there's something weird about Nikola Tesla in Canada that I could put a spin on for this podcast.
Well, for real, with the Niagara Falls, he had a hand in helping use all that power from the falls to make electricity.
Oh, that's really cool.
It is very cool.
Maybe he was racist and it wasn't cool.
I think he was pretty chill.
Oh, okay.
I think he was pretty chill.
You guys let me know.
And I remember reading forever ago online about how he had all this very interesting sort of like free energy kind of equipment and things, and it was all taken from him by the government. But that's pretty conspiracy theory-ish.
Not rooted in fact.
No, and I didn't do a lot of research at the time. Instead, I smoked the marijuana and was like, that's fucked. They should have taken that from Tesla. They should have done that. You know, that kind of thing. But I still feel like that story is probably true. I don't know. Guys, I'm reading here about... in
the 50s, Canada was...
the story takes place... No? This one?
Yep.
They were increasingly concerned about... Okay, yeah, asserting... We were increasingly concerned about asserting sovereignty over the high Arctic. Okay. There was the fear that unoccupied land could be claimed by other nations.
Russia.
Yep.
The United States.
Yep. Presence mattered more than infrastructure.
So they just needed bodies up there.
They want to it's like Risk.
Yeah. Literally, it's
literally Risk.
Yeah. The game Risk. Yeah.
Yeah. Presence mattered more than infrastructure. Federal officials believed sovereignty could be strengthened by visible, permanent occupation. Inuit communities were seen as a way to establish that presence.
Wow.
Yeah. Not through treaties or investment, but through relocation.
Let's just shuffle them around.
God.
I hate that.
Just let them chill.
Just don't stop moving Indigenous peoples.
They're not risk players.
They're not. They're people.
They're people.
Please continue.
Trying to chill. Inuit people were not viewed as communities with established homelands. They were treated as evidence of ownership. Their lives became political tools. Relocation was framed as benevolent.
What does benevolent mean? Is that the good or bad?
It means good.
Benevolent is good. Malevolent is bad.
That's right.
Thank you.
Like a malady.
Yeah. What?
Like a sickness or an illness.
I would think ça va mal.
Oui. Ça va mal.
À la tête.
Ça va mal.
Ça va mal à la tête.
Sick in the head.
Yeah.
Oui. Oh non.
Oui.
C'est pas bon.
Non.
Mon chéri. Inuit people are viewed as communities. Benevolent. Okay. Promises of
That's where we were.
Promises of better hunting.
I hate that. It was the Arctic.
Yeah. No good hunting up there. Not good hunting. Promises of housing, schools, and support. Promises that were not backed by reality.
They just said they were going to be there.
Yeah.
Hey, go up. Why don't you go on up over there? Everything's up there you need.
Yep.
Everything.
Schools? They got schools.
They're up there.
Better
Grocery
believe it.
stores? Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Roads? For sure.
Yeah, they got roads.
They got houses. Get on up there.
No problem.
It's
this
just
is
waiting
real
for you.
This is all real
Just
for you.
waiting for you to get there.
You're going to love it up there.
Who's going to use it if not you?
Come on. It's going to waste. All those schools.
all those schools. All those beds in those houses.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah.
The high Arctic was radically different from Inuit home regions. Great. Different wildlife, different climate. So they're already, they're used to one way of living and hunting and doing all these things. And now, what WTF, guys? Different survival knowledge required. Yeah. These differences were ignored or minimized.
They were like, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. People were not moved for their well-being. They were moved because they were useful where they were placed.
Because the core truth of this is policy.
Yes.
That's why people were moved. Because they wanted, like they said, they wanted just bodies up there.
Oh, right. Yeah. This wasn't relocation for care. It was relocation for optics.
Yeah. So here, we're going to talk about the relocation plan.
Okay.
Oh, okay. The relocations were organized. Who was involved in all of this?
Yeah.
The relocations were organized and carried out by the federal government of Canada, the Department of Northern Affairs, and guess who else, guys? The RCMP, who were often the direct point of contact with families. So once again, it's law enforcement showing up to people's homes, Indigenous people's homes, and forcefully making them go somewhere. If that is not a parallel with ICE, I don't know what is. Thank you. RCMP officers were responsible for delivering instructions, organizing transport, and communicating government promises. So they were the middlemen who were like, yeah, it's all gonna be. They were the salesmen.
Yeah.
The power and the power imbalance was absolute. Families were dealing with uniformed authorities who've probably for generations had trauma and issues with uniformed authorities, and refusal was not presented as a real option. So they didn't have the option to say, well, no, I'll just move. I have family down south. I'll just go down there. They're like, no. Oh, the volunteer phone.
Oh.
Who...
No. Let it go?
Yes.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
how it works.
Sorry.
Who people were taken from. Inuit families were relocated primarily from Northern Quebec, most notably from Inuktitut, formerly Port Harrison. And these were established communities with known hunting grounds, seasonal cycles, and generational ties to the land. So historic, like legacy land, they were made to move from, which is tragic. And when that happens to like farmers who aren't properly bought out, white people throw a fit.
Yeah.
You know, as they should, because the government shouldn't be able to do that. And we as white folks worry about what the government might do because of what the government has done historically to people of color and Indigenous folks.
Yeah.
That's why we worry about it.
Exactly, because it's happened.
Families were transported thousands of kilometers north to Resolute Bay and Grise Fjord, both in Nunavut. These locations were far above the Arctic Circle, ecologically unfamiliar, and almost completely undeveloped. Because who the fuck did they send? It's not like they sent anybody up there to, build it.
Yeah, to get it all ready to go for them.
So what kind of piece of shit promises were made to these beautiful, wonderful families? And we did touch on this a little bit, but families were told the hunting would be better, the game would be plentiful, housing would be provided, schools would be available for children, and ongoing support would be in place. So they were presented it as an option, like, for a better life. Mm-hmm. These promises were used to secure compliance, and they were not backed by preparation or infrastructure. It was basically the fire festival.
Yeah.
But in the Arctic.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, big time.
Genuinely. That's what it was. There's no infrastructure. There's no plumbing up there.
And it's permanent.
Permanently, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great comparison, right? Because it's like, this is the scale of how fucked that is. Like, just completely, not that it's hard to imagine, but I mean, like.
And they left their land with their generational ties that their family was probably buried on for years and generations. Like, just terrible.
Yeah.
So let's find, you want to know what they arrived to? Upon arrival, families found no permanent housing, no schools, and no established services. Mm-hmm. The climate was also far harsher than what they knew. It was different wildlife. And within that wildlife, there were different migration patterns, and there were longer periods of darkness. Communities were placed in extreme isolation with limited contact with the outside world because it was the 50s, no internet. You know, if there's no homes, there's probably no telephone poles built up there. Mm-hmm. And there was no immediate way to return home either. Families were deliberately split. Again, every time we get to the relocating of anytime the Canadian government interferes with Indigenous families, we're splitting them up.
Splitting them all
and
up.
It's fucked up. Just stop.
Yeah.
Relatives were sent to different locations, and support systems fractured within families. You know?
Yeah.
We know. I don't need to talk about that. We know how that
happens.
How that can happen. And I don't mean divorce, okay? Because there are examples of healthy separation and divorce. I'm in a blended family right now.
Right.
Not to toot my own horn, but I don't want to vilify divorce by any means, because sometimes marriage does not work out.
Right. No, you're talking about people.
Consenting people who are choosing to be in a family together with children who like what they're doing, forcefully ripped apart to a desolate northern place with no resources, probably no heat. Like what wow. People were not allowed to return. They couldn't come back, even when conditions were unbearable and even when the promises were broken. And the consent was not meaningful. Information was incomplete or misleading, and authority figures controlled the process. So it was a lot of bureaucracy. And choice existed on paper, not in practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what relocation actually meant, sudden environmental shock. Families arrived in environments radically different from their home regions. The high Arctic was colder, darker for longer periods, more isolated than anything they had known.
Yeah, I don't know how, I've just got to drive it home even further. This was the 50s. There was no internet.
No.
The vehicles were not what they are now. Even heating in a vehicle wouldn't be even close to what it is now.
Right.
The ability to clear your car, there was no antifreeze. Maybe there was. I don't actually know that as a fact. But I'm sure as heck in the 50s there might not be windshield washer fluid doing that thingamajig. But maybe there was. I don't want to quote.
I have no idea. I feel like you really would need it. It gets crazy. It gets crazy around here. You're looking that up. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nights were longer because they're way up north, which is crazy. Different travel conditions. Yeah. It was not just a change of place. It was a complete rupture from lived knowledge. So anything that they had been used to dealing with whatsoever, it's now a completely different playing field. It's just, yeah, that's so brutal. Yeah.
By the early 1950s, automatic windshield washer buttons began appearing.
Okay.
But yeah, that was so very early technology.
Yeah.
But still, driving to the Arctic.
Driving to the Arctic.
Please, I'm going to let that go now.
Hunting patterns completely different.
Yeah.
So Inuit survival knowledge is place-specific, tied to the local animals, the land, and ice conditions. In the high Arctic, familiar game was scarce or absent. Migration patterns were different. Techniques that worked in Northern Quebec often failed. Families were expected to adapt immediately, without training, without guidance, without backup food sources.
Well, who would have trained them? There's nobody to train them.
No one's been there. No one lives there. There's no one to train. They just go up there.
They said, you walk so we can run, is what they said.
Yeah.
Go on.
That's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
Because guess what? No schools, so you can't learn about it up there.
Forget it.
We were kidding. Sorry. Food scarcity and starvation. Yeah, I bet. Promised better hunting did not materialize. Food shortages became common. Starvation and malnutrition were reported.
Awful.
Yeah, hunger was not incidental. It was the result of policy decisions. There was no emergency systems in place. Yeah. This was not failure to adapt. It was being placed in an impossible situation.
Yeah.
Children growing up without promised schooling. Schools that were promised were delayed or never built. So that meant that the children lost education, stability, social continuity. This compounded existing harms. So already living through displacement and now denied basic supports.
Wild. Yeah, because what would you do with your kids all day?
Yeah. They're just around. And well, you're also scrambling. Like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah, like how am I, well, I guess come hunt with me, but I don't even know how we're going to do that.
I mean, I don't know what the conditions were like. I don't know what people were doing regularly before that. So, but I can only imagine that it was just crazy.
I bet it was so crazy.
I bet it was so crazy. Yes. Are we going to address that or we're just going to move on?
Your toot?
Oh, wow. Oh, so it was mine.
It was yours.
It was mine.
Yeah.
Okay, well then for the audience, I tooted. Let's move on.
I bet you didn't think the mic would hear it.
I really just didn't. I don't know anything about these things. I don't know how they work. I don't know. Psychological impact of isolation and displacement. Communities experienced profound isolation.
Sorry, we're still laughing.
The juxtaposition. It's been a long day, guys. We were at work all day.
Sorry. Laugh with us. There's a listener discretion in the beginning. It covers us.
That's right. Yeah, it covers all these things. That's right.
He's a human. He's gonna toot. What do you want?
Right. I forgot the narrative for a second. I'm only human.
He's gonna squeak him out sometimes.
I'm just, what can I say? It's what I do as a human. Just that's something that happens.
Okay, we'll get serious. Let's reset.
Okay. What's a good reset tool?
How now? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, you gonna laugh more? How now, brown cow? Unique New York.
Canadian creepies.
Canadian creepies. Canadian creepies.
Creeps of Canada.
Stuff that happens here in the Great North. Do you like that?
Yeah.
I don't like calling it the Great North.
The Great North. I love that show.
That was the show.
I love that show.
And it had, what's his name that I like? Will Forte.
Ron Swanson.
Yeah, it did. It had Nick Offerman in there too.
Yeah. I didn't even watch Parks and Rec. Okay. Creepies. Canadian creepies.
You guys, we're talking about the psychological impact of isolation and displacement. Serious. Mm-hmm. Communities experience profound isolation, grief of lost homelands, anxiety, and uncertainty. Families were far from extended kin, cut off from familiar cultural anchors. Loss of agency was constant. No ability to return, no say in daily realities.
You're just literally they were just trying to survive.
Just trying to get by, trying to do the life as you know it.
Trying to stay warm, trying to get a meal.
God, it'd be so
Take
brutal.
care of their kids.
And we get so upset here about our heater not heating enough.
I know.
I feel so bad. We are privileged.
We're spoiled. You. Yeah, you. Still haunting the same old fast fashion? Time to dig up something better with Back from the Dead Goods, a Canadian small business where forgotten threads get a second life and sustainability meets spooky. This isn't just upcycled clothing. It's resurrected fashion with an eerie edge. Handpicked, reworked, and revived, every piece is as unique as a ghost story whispered at midnight. And because you're a part of the Canadian Creepies family, you get an exclusive deal. Use code Canadian Creepies at checkout for 10% off. Find them lurking on Instagram, Etsy, and Poshmark. Links are in the episode description. Give your wardrobe a second chance at life, if you dare. Hey creeps, It's Valerie here, and if you're anything like us, you love capturing a moment, whether it's spooky, sweet, or somewhere delightfully in between. Let me introduce you to our go-to for stunning shots, darkroom photography, based right here in the heart of the Niagara region. Mel, the brilliant eye behind the lens, is a lifestyle and creative photographer who brings a little bit of magic and maybe a touch of mystery to every session. She's got all her prices listed right on her website, super transparent, no tricks, and she runs killer seasonal specials around Mother's Day, Halloween, Christmas, and more. I'm telling you, her Halloween sessions, creepy perfection. So, if you're in the Niagara area and looking to capture memories that are hauntingly beautiful, hit up Mel at mel@darkroomphotography.ca or check out her work at www.darkroomphotography.ca. That's Darkroom Photography, where your memories come to life, even in the dark. Looking for your next obsession? The Creators Collective Podcasts is your gateway to the dark, the chilling, and the downright fascinating. We're a community of independent podcasts with one goal: to share the best in true crime, paranormal tales, folklore, and unexplained mysteries. Whether you crave cold cases that won't stay closed, haunted histories that refuse to be forgotten, or stories that make you sleep with the lights on, there's a show waiting for you in the collective. And when you join us, you're not just listening to one podcast. You're stepping into a world of creators who love this stuff as much as you do. Check out the Creators Collective today. Follow the link in our show notes to discover your next favorite podcast. We'll be waiting for you. Support reproductive justice in Niagara. Niagara Reproductive Justice is a grassroots collective based in the Niagara region of Ontario, working to increase visibility and access to sexual and reproductive health care. They support people seeking abortion and other essential care by offering transportation, financial assistance, logistical help, and emotional support. Here's how you can help. You can make a one-time donation. Send an e-transfer to niagarareproductivejustice@gmail.com. Your support helps cover costs like gas for volunteer drivers, overnight stays, childcare, and other urgent needs. You can also support monthly via Patreon. Join their Patreon and support the cause month to month. It's patreon.com/Niagara Reproductive Justice. And you can volunteer your time. NRJ is always looking for volunteers to help with driving, outreach, admin support, and community organizing. If you're looking to make a real impact in the Niagara region, this is a great place to start. Contact them via email or DM them on Instagram or Facebook to learn more. You can find them on Instagram at Niagara Reproductive Justice and on Facebook at Niagara Reproductive Justice. Help amplify access to reproductive care right here in our own backyard. Whether you donate, volunteer, or spread the word, you're a part of the movement. All right, creeps, real quick. If you've got a Canadian business or project that you want to reach our spooky little corner of the podcast world, we've got ad space available on Canadian Creepies. And hey, if you're an artist, activist, podcast host, musician, writer, content creator, actor, or just someone with a strange or chilling story to tell, we'd love to hear from you too. We're always open to collaborations with folks who vibe with our creepy, curious little corner of Canada. Email us at CanadianCreepiespodcast@gmail.com and let's get weird together.
Trauma came not only from hardship, but from being trapped in a decision made by others.
Yeah, that's fucked. That's the worst.
This was not just about survival in a harsh climate. It was about loss of control, loss of safety, loss of continuity across generations. The damage was not temporary. It reshaped lives. It reshaped communities.
Nailed it, babe.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. What a segment.
I forgot to mention, I got the idea for this episode from Canada Land.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I listened to an episode. I forget what the title is called. Something about Arctic sovereignty.
Listen to Canada Land.
I'm sure if you Google Canada Land Arctic sovereignty, it'll pop up for you.
Yeah.
And from there, I found a CBC focus on Paula Ikuutaq Rumbolt. So I'm going to introduce who she is.
Okay.
This CBC documentary centers on Paula, who was relocated as a child during the 1950s high Arctic relocation. So everybody should check this out if you're interested in this. She was taken from her home community in Northern Quebec and moved thousands of kilometers north. She is not presented as a symbol. She is presented as a person who lived through state policy. Like, and I wonder how many people lived through that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't want to be that morbid and look up how many people passed from it.
Right.
History becomes real when policy meets a person.
Yeah.
Paula has memories of the move. She remembers being told they were leaving and remembers the journey north. Paula remembers the shock of arrival, the cold, the unfamiliar land, the absence of what had been promised. And as a child, she did not understand Cold War politics. She only understood that her home was gone. Because remember, these people were just pawns in the giant Cold War chess game, just to make sure Russia didn't get the Arctic. That's why we sent these poor people there. Not low income poor, but
yes.
For Paula, relocation meant leaving extended family, leaving a known landscape, and leaving the rhythms that shaped identity. It meant growing up in a place she did not choose. It meant adapting to a land that had not raised her. And she speaks about isolation, loss, and the fear of being placed somewhere rather than belonging somewhere. This is where policy becomes personal. This is not about abstract sovereignty. This is about a childhood interrupted, a community fractured, and a sense of home taken without consent. Despite the harm Paula and others endured, communities adapted, culture persisted. But rebuilding was not the same as choosing. Survivor was not the same as consent. And the settlement exists today because people were forced to remain. Generations grew up in a place created by policy. And just so we're all aware, resilience does not erase injustice.
Right.
And endurance does not validate the decision that caused the suffering.
Right. Absolutely. Just because they are making it work and have been doesn't mean...
Doesn't make it right.
No, doesn't make it right. Doesn't mean that people had to go through that.
Paula's story reveals what official language obscures. Relocation sounds administrative, and Cold War policy sounds strategic. But lived experience sounds like loss, displacement, adaptation.
Yeah,
Adaptation. Because it's adapt.
Yeah, adaptation. Yeah.
Adaptation under pressure. And history becomes real when policy meets a person.
There you go. Yes.
Dang.
I really do. I haven't seen it. I would like to see that.
We should watch that.
That'd be great.
Tell us about the long-term impact.
Okay. The long-term impact here. Generational trauma. That old chestnut. The relocation did not end when the ships docked. It reshaped families across generations. Children who grew up in forced settlements grew up with disrupted stability, grew up hearing about homelands they did not know, inherited unresolved grief. Trauma was not just about hunger or isolation. It was about loss of agency. It was about forced permanence. It was about knowing the move was not voluntary. Survivors have spoken out about lingering mistrust of government. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Intergenerational anxiety. Can't even imagine. That's wild. Mm-hmm. The emotional weight of being uprooted for political reasons.
Yeah, how indispensable you would feel as a human.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a kind of blatant that they don't. Yeah, it's like not caring. Loss of homeland and identity ties. Inuit culture is land-based. Knowledge systems are tied to specific places. Language, hunting, seasonal movement, all geographically rooted. When families were relocated, they lost intimate ties to ancestral land, they lost burial grounds, they lost environmental knowledge passed down through generations. Cultural continuity was interrupted, not erased, but fractured.
Yeah.
Yeah, identity is not portable in the way governments assume. You cannot transplant belonging.
Yeah. Yeah, the government was just like,
Yeah.
let's see what happens.
It's pretty.
There's so many examples of this in Canadian history.
And it's stuff that's wild that the general public don't know. Like, people don't really know this. Like,
Yeah.
it's not talked about.
Nope.
It's not talked about in school.
Should be part of our history.
Absolutely
Just so you know.
should be. Yeah.
Our government is responsible because how do you expect more from your government? Well, I guess that's just it, right? If you don't know, then you can't expect more and better of them.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? So, but if you do know, then you expect more, you expect better. You know what the history is rooted in, and you're like, okay, long enough.
Yeah. Okay. Ongoing social and economic consequences. The settlements of Resolute Bay and Gris Fjord still exist, but their existence began in coercion. Long-term impacts include economic limitations in extremely remote regions, high costs of living.
Because it would cost a lot to get anything there.
Yeah, of course it would. What is in season up there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Root vegetables?
I was going to say root
Only
vegetables. I was
Like
going to say root vegetables. Turnips.
turnips.
No, because there's no... It's like, the Arctic is like the Arctic.
So solid,
It's ice.
frozen, solid
It's
ground.
a tundra. Yeah.
The tundra.
Maybe it's not a tundra.
I don't know this. I don't know enough about a lot of things.
Let's not speculate too much.
We
Please
won't.
Continue.
But it still sounds rough from what I'm reading.
Yeah.
Long-term impacts include economic limitations in extremely remote regions, high cost of living, limited infrastructure, dependence on federal systems that created the displacement in the first place. These were not thriving communities built organically. They were policy experiments that became permanent. They're communities that still exist because they were forced to. Survivors were not allowed to return home. Over time, generations were born in relocation settlements.
Yeah, because people keep going.
Of course. That's what, life finds a way. Jurassic Park.
I was going to say.
What began as forced placement became inherited geography. The resilience of these communities does not justify their creation. Survival does not mean the policy was sound. And this was not an isolated policy.
As we know.
Tied to, this is yes.
Yeah, we're going to tie it to other forced relocations in Canada.
Like residential schools.
Thank you.
Indigenous children were forcibly removed from families. The stated goal was civilization and assimilation. The result was cultural suppression, intergenerational trauma, loss of language, and continuity. Both of these policies justified harm under national interest. Both disrupted family structures deliberately. The day schools operated with communities but imposed federal control. Children experienced abuse and cultural erasure. Less geographically distant, but still state-controlled disruption. Harm can happen without distance. Relocation is not the only tool of control. In the 1950s, how did you pronounce this? Iqaluit were repeatedly relocated, moved from Inadai Lake to Hennick Lake, then to Whale Cove. Their promised support left in precarious conditions.
The parallel there is that there was mobility imposed by government.
Right. Repeated disruption, communities treated as administratively movable.
And they were not.
Right. They were people.
Yeah.
So both of those things are situations where this happened. The high Arctic relocation was not an accident. It was part of a broader pattern in Canadian policy. Moving Indigenous people, controlling Indigenous presence, prioritizing national optics over human stability. This harm was not temporary. It became structural. It became generational.
Yeah, it did. And it's still impacting generations.
Yeah.
For decades, survivors pushed for recognition. Early government reports minimized coercion, and the relocation was often framed as voluntary or misunderstood. So the same thing that happens now. Inuit survivors and advocates challenged that narrative. Thank goodness they did.
Mm-hmm.
Historical reviews and commissions eventually acknowledged sovereignty was a motivating factor, promises were broken, and hardship was foreseeable. And the government acknowledgement did not happen immediately. It required sustained pressure from survivors. So after being completely traumatized and ripped from their homes, they then had to do the emotional work of begging for a fucking apology. And that apology didn't happen until August of 2010. The government of Canada formally apologized for the high Arctic relocation. The apology acknowledged the role of sovereignty concerns, the suffering caused by broken promises, and the hardship endured by relocated families. The apology was delivered on behalf of the federal government, and it recognized that the relocations caused lasting harm. Oh, like, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking wow.
Yeah.
This apology came nearly 60 years after the relocations began. By that point, many of the survivors had already passed away.
Brutal.
Financial compensation was provided to surviving relocatees, and funds were also directed toward community healing initiatives, commemorative projects, and cultural preservation efforts. Compensation recognized harm. It did not reverse displacement. And financial redress addresses impact. It does not restore homeland.
Right. Yeah.
So money is something.
Yeah.
But it's not really anything.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Well, yeah, it doesn't replace just generations of mistreatment.
Exactly. Thank you.
To put it lightly. Yeah.
Okay, so what was actually said versus what was actually repaired? What was said? The government acknowledged suffering. It recognized that sovereignty concerns influenced the relocation, and it expressed regret. What could not be repaired? The original homelands left behind, generations shaped by forced permanence, the rupture in land-based continuity, and the decades of silence before recognition. It's important to note that an apology does not equal restoration. Mm-hmm. Every listener can, thank you for the apology, but like, you still fucking cheated on me, Mm-hmm. Thank you for the apology, but you still called me a bitch. Like, recognition does not equal reversal. Financial compensation does not equal return. Accountability came, but it came late. And it came after harm had already reshaped communities. Repair can acknowledge injustice. It cannot erase it.
Yep. So, why this story matters now. And why many Canadians still don't know this story. The high Arctic relocation is not widely taught in Canadian schools.
Hey.
It is often overshadowed by residential schools, other major state policies. It does not fit the simplified national narrative of Canada as consistently benevolent. It happened far from southern population centers. It affected small, remote communities, and the distance made it easier to ignore. Silence is not accidental. That's an important thing to note here. Some stories fade because they challenge comfort.
That's right.
That's also an important thing to note. It's like these things that challenge our comfortable viewpoints are easily looked over or, not approached and talked about.
Or we feel challenges, I'm speaking as a white person.
Right.
When we learn about something that we feel that just like makes us uncomfortable, we think that's like a challenge almost.
Yeah.
Just sit with the discomfort. Just
right.
ruminate. It doesn't have to be solved or fixed by you at all. You're allowed to sit with discomfort and let that turn into something else.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you.
Sovereignty, security, and national interest today. The Arctic remains politically strategic. Climate change is opening shipping routes. Military and geopolitical interest in the North continues.
By climate change is opening shipping routes, it means like the polarized caps are melting. So ships can now travel there.
Yeah. And so like, yeah, exactly. That's still politically motivated in some ways, or, is a political chess piece that can be moved around.
Yeah.
Canada still frames Arctic policy around sovereignty and security. National interest remains powerful language. It can justify resource extraction, military presence, infrastructure decisions, land claims, disputes. When security becomes the priority, communities can again become secondary.
Mm-hmm. Important to note in these times.
Right. These things can happen again.
Grassroots, friends.
Yeah, this is an example of where,
protect your neighbors from the government.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you should protect each other, protect your families.
Not with
I don't know.
Firearms. I mean, like, morally. With your words.
That's an important distinction.
With your words.
Stick up for each other.
Stick up for each other by challenging stereotypes.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm fucking saying. Christ. Don't clip that.
Don't clip Valerie's crash out.
Yeah, please.
Please don't have a 2026 Valerie's best crash out reels.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. And don't submit it to Canadian Creepies at gmail.com or whatever it is. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's the government sometimes will be like, we'll do the old ask for forgiveness, not
rather than permission
kind of situations.
And we should put them in a spot where they're not comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
We as citizens.
Always ask permission, gov.
Yeah, always.
But they don't, because they're government. What happens when governments decide who is expendable, Valerie?
Tell me about it.
Okay, I will. The relocation shows what happens when human well-being is weighted against state optics. Strategic positioning outranks consent. It asks uncomfortable questions. Who benefits from national policy? Who absorbs the cost? Who is asked to sacrifice stability for the greater good? The high Arctic relocation reveals how easy it is to frame harm as necessity, how policy language can soften coercion, how distance can hide consequences.
You're doing really good.
I'm a little tired. This is not only about the 1950s. It is about how power operates. So this is still important because survivors are still living.
Yep.
Communities shaped by relocation still exist. The apology happened within our lifetime. Let that sink in. This is not ancient policy. This is modern Canada. This wasn't ancient history. Survivors are still alive.
Yeah.
Boom.
They are. Now we're going to do something that me as a person on the spectrum really has a hard time with. And that is holding two truths.
Yes.
But in practice, it gets better.
Yeah.
Truth one, Canada feared losing Arctic sovereignty. The Cold War was real. Global tension shaped government decision-making. Arctic territory mattered strategically. Security concerns were not imaginary. It is possible to acknowledge that context. Just acknowledge it.
Yes.
Truth, too. Inuit families were uprooted. Promises were broken. Children grew up displaced. Communities were reshaped by coercion. And human lives were harmed by deliberate policy choices. These harms were not accidental. They were foreseeable. They were known. Understanding context is not excusing harm. I'm not doing that. Explaining motivation is not defending outcome. And policy decisions can be both strategic and cruel.
Mm-hmm.
Governments often frame actions as necessary. Necessary does not mean just. Necessary does not mean humane.
Right.
Ice.
It's not necessary.
This was not chaos. This was not a misunderstanding. This was a decision. And decisions have consequences.
Yes.
We can hold complexity. We can recognize geopolitical anxiety. And we can still say clearly that people were harmed.
Yeah. So, upon closing reflection, what's that? 2,000 kilometers north. That is not a short move. That is not a seasonal migration.
That's not going to the cottage.
No, that ain't. That is not a misunderstanding. It is a deliberate displacement. It is geography used as policy. This story matters because it happened here. It matters because it was documented. It matters because survivors are still here. Not every injustice is hidden. Some are simply uncomfortable. Remembering is not about guilt. It is about clarity. Sit with discomfort.
You can do that. It's all right.
You can do it. It's all right to do so. It is easier to believe harm happens elsewhere. It is harder to admit it happened here, and harder still to admit it was done by design. You do not need to leave this episode outraged. You don't need to leave it shocked, but sit with it. Sit with the idea that policy can reshape lives. Sit with the idea that sovereignty had a human cost. Yeah, I mean, that is something that is so hard to do. It really, truly is hard to do that, to just sit with these emotions sometimes.
Yeah.
Our natural instinct is to want to fix
to solve them and fix them
it.
and not feel that way. But sometimes the only way out is through.
Yeah.
And David Bowie always talked about being, if you're comfortable in your art, then you're not doing it right. And I think that rings true. Well, art is political, so I think that rings true when it comes to just like some social situations as well. And like, am I making sense? Can you help me pull that together?
I'm trying to connect the darts. I think sitting with it is good to do. I think it's good to be
I'm
comfortable.
sorry.
I like that you went for something. It's a little bit. The face you're making was wonderful.
Sorry.
There.
So David Bowie once said...
I was really waiting for just a gem to pop out. That is a gem, too.
That is a gem. Yeah, I'm trying to say, sometimes conversationally... So this is how I'm thinking. Sometimes conversationally with your friends or your family, you are having an uncomfortable conversation about politics or just... society or whatever.
Right. So you're talking about the general positivity that can come from putting yourself through uncomfortable situations?
Sort of. Yes, that is what I'm saying. I'm saying change can happen when you work through those uncomfortable things. So I'm saying challenge your friends and family members. Like, be uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable in conversations and expressing yourself is okay.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think that...
Like art, you should sometimes be uncomfortable because conversating is an art.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you brilliantly weaved back in there. And
fucking nailed it.
Also, it's sitting with the uncomfortability of this topic. It's not a Band-Aid solution kind of thing.
Exactly. It's going to take some thinking.
It's not going to just like some cash you
some
can throw at it.
Some thinking and some
like,
empathy.
You don't listen to the podcast and you say, ooh, I feel bad. Here's $10 to,
You
whatever.
can do that to pay your rent.
Definitely do that still. Definitely do that still, but sit with it as well.
Yeah.
And maybe, that's in that time a greater, you can become part of a greater solution.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And listen to Inuit voices, read Inuit historians, support Inuit-led storytelling, learn about Arctic communities from the people who live there. Watch that documentary, perhaps.
Yeah, the CBC documentary.
This story should not end with this episode. The cold wasn't the cruelest part. Being treated as expendable was.
That's right. And we're not going to do a current case because we talked a little bit. I just feel like when I don't ever want to like take away from anyway, we're just not doing a current case. You got a creep of the week in the bonus episode if you're really itching for a current case or a creep of the week. So I still check that box. And I just didn't want to do anything that would take away from this.
Yeah. Okay. Well said.
This. So you can follow me on Instagram, Radio Valerie, and TikTok, Radio Valerie, and on YouTube, Radio Valerie, and on Instagram, Canadian Creepies. And you can send me an email at canadiancreepiespodcast@gmail.com. And please, 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 please leave me a voice note with a spooky story or a hometown haunt or nominate a creep of the week at speakpipe.com/Canadian Creepies.
Do it.
And you can follow Kyle on Instagram at Kyle Michael McDonald. And you can follow the Feverish Lemons at the Feverish Lemons everywhere except for TikTok. Do you guys have a TikTok?
Yeah.
You can follow them on TikTok too. So that's good news. We don't
post anything though.
But they will.
But we will.
They will.
That's right.
That's right. So follow us everywhere, please. That's all I got for you. Have a great week.
Have a great week.
Don't let the bed creeps bite.
Don't let them bite. Okay? Don't, honestly, get them out of your bed. You should.
Don't let creeps in your bed.
Don't let the bed creeps in the first place, I think.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye.